Welcome, guys. Let's see. Santiago maybe takes a few minutes. Gracias, Jorge. Ahora no. Logro llegar bien. That's important. Well, guys, welcome to our second week. We begin our session tonight. Y bueno, Diego está esperando. Lo siento. Buenas noticias en general. De pronto también para que lo compartan en el grupo de WhatsApp. Bueno, ustedes saben que cuando les hablo en español es de cosas como administrativas, más que todo. Y un ejemplo es este. Ya hoy oficialmente están, de hecho desde ayer, en el aula virtual. ¿Listo? La semana pasada cuando arrancamos el viernes todavía no estaba la matrícula propiamente. Y pues bueno, yo les decía, nos toca estar atentos y estar revisando en el transcurso de la semana. Afortunadamente ya se hizo la matrícula. Ustedes dirán que es obvio que todos están matriculados. Qué ruido. Pero siempre me gusta hacer como el ejercicio de que no falte nadie. No debería faltar nadie nunca, pero pues ustedes saben que de alguna manera esos procesos, en algunos casos se pueden cometer errores. Insisto, no debería pasar, pero puede ocurrir. Está Beatriz Omaira, Diego Fernando, Hamilton Peña, Johan Sebastián, Jorge Yair, Karen Victoria, Catarina Alexandra, Kiara Lisette, la docente Laura Juliana, la coordinadora Lilian Carolina, Manuel Alberto, Manuel Ortiz, María Alejandra Galvis, María Alejandra Vega Galvis, es de la parte administrativa, Marlon Yesid, yo of course, Mendy Fabián, Natalia Navarro, Sergio David, Steven Santiago, para que le cuenten. Vanessa Zambrano, Xiomara Caterine y Jessica Paola. ¿Listo? Entonces, oficialmente estamos en el aula virtual, ya para que lo tengan presente. El mismo ingreso de siempre. Recuerden, guys, que para este segundo ciclo vamos a estar trabajando de las unidades 5 a la 8 y pues obviamente esas son las unidades que estaremos trabajando aquí en el aula virtual. Entonces, yo creo que les estaré repitiendo, les estaré recordando un poquito más. Quizás peco por solo decirles la primera vez y pues asumir que ya es algo obvio para ustedes y pues no, prefiero ponerme en modo quizás intensa, estarles recordando todo el tiempo para que tengan presente el realizar las actividades del aula virtual, que aunque pareciera que no es un porcentaje tan alto porque es un 10%, es un porcentaje, ¿listo? Y cualquier décima cuenta, tengamos presente que esto se aprueba es con 3.6 y pues la idea es que a nadie le falte ninguna nota y menos porque se le escapó quizás la información, ¿ok? Well, guys, as usual, I'm going to start first taking attendance. Let me do that process. Well, let me turn this off so you don't see my face suffering trying to read your names. And then we can start. Acá. Listo, pues. Karen Victoria Acevedo.
Present.
Okay. Well, Santiago Jorge already told me that he may be late. Esperemos a las 15. Sergio David Gómez.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Kiara Lisette Martínez.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Jorge Jair Moreno.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Natalia Navarro.
Present.
Okay. Esperando. Diego Fernando Olarte.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Joan Sebastián Pavón. Not here yet. Manuela Ortiz.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, there you are. Beatriz Pedraza.
Present, teacher.
Okay, let me see the chat.
Santiago Fonseca, profe, disculpe.
Sí, Santiago. Creo que es el único Santiago realmente. Sí, sí, señor. Listo, Jorge, thank you. Hamilton Peña.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Xiomara Rincón.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Jessica Paola Ríos.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Catherine Alexandra Rodríguez.
Present, miss.
Okay. Marlon Yesid Sanchez. Not here for the moment. Mendy Fabian Santa. Not here for the moment. Manuel Alberto Sepúlveda.
Present, teacher.
Okay. María Alejandra Vega.
Present, teacher.
Okay. And Vanessa Zambrano. I think I saw her name. Let me see. No. I mistake. So for the moment, the ones that are not here, let's wait for Santiago, Johan Sebastian, Marlon Yesid, Vanessa Zambrano, and I think that now Mendy is here. Yes?
Teacher present.
Okay,
Yes.
Mendy, there you are. Thank you very
It's
much.
right.
There you go. Very good. Okay, guys, let me refresh your memory a little bit. In the meantime, ingresaron por un momento. Sí, vamos a esto. Guys, I was telling you that we are official in the virtual campus. Les contaba, ya oficialmente estamos acá para empezar a trabajar. Digamos que ya como el último aspecto a tener en cuenta para arrancar propiamente, yo sé ni nunca voy a tomar por sentado el hecho que tenemos Semana Santa de por medio. La idea es, vamos trabajando el tema. Ustedes, ojalá en medio de su día ocupado puedan encontrar, perdón, ese espacio para poder practicar. Listo, y también la sugerencia ya para cerrar esta parte, no dejarlos para ese último día. Ojalá. Yo sé que están súper ocupados, pero pues perdería la gracia propiamente el ejercicio. Okay. Well, guys, as I was telling you, today we officially continue with our Unit 5. In our Unit 5 tonight, we're talking about pages 50 and 51. We began Unit 5 on Friday, of course, and basically the idea was talking about future in very general aspects. Tonight, the language focus too is related to future, okay? We are going to refresh our memory a little bit. I would like to ask you a question while I'm going to present the slide. Because based on the information that we have here on our pages 50 and 51, specifically page 50, here we're talking about a crossroad. Let me zoom in. Guys, do you remember the meaning of crossroad? Look at her face. What could be a crossroad or a synonym for this word, crossroad? What do you think? What's the meaning of this?
Options for make a decisions.
Okay, options to make decisions. Very good. Any other idea, guys, that you have? What Kiara says is actually good.
Algo así como, no, cross es como cruzar, como encrucijada o algo así, no sé.
Yes, Catherine. Actually, that's like the direct translation for crosswords as well. So somehow we can say that another synonym that is a little bit transparent to Spanish, compared to Spanish, would be like it is a kind of dilemma, right? Like there are different possibilities and at the end we have to choose one. And of course, also the intention of the crossword is that it may have also like an important impact. Like it is not any decision, you know, it is not only about choosing between coffee and tea. Let's put it like that. Actually, the idea of crossword is that, yes, the decision that you make is actually very important and will eventually have an impact in your life. As also said Hamilton in the chat, we're talking about that meaning. Okay, so I'm gonna send you a link to the chat. And I would like to ask you from your perspective, from your experience, what situations can be considered as crossroads? Remember the idea. It's a dilemma, but it's actually a kind of complicated dilemma because it's going to have an important impact in your future. Look at the example that I'm sharing. When a spouse or partner gets a new job in another country. So imagine that you are already married and then your partner gets a very good job on a different country. That is an important crossword, right? Like to travel with the person or to stay in the place where you are. So the idea that from your opinion, from your perspective, you share a situation, only one, that you consider as important crosswords. And also look at the length of the sentence. It is something very short. For the moment, I don't need you, or it's not necessary like to give a full description, no. Just like a very general idea. Look at the example. It's basically one sentence, okay? Guys, is the instruction clear? Is instruction clear?
Yes, Miss.
Thank you, Catherine. Very good. While you think about that, great. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. Once again, notice how long the instruction is. And also I'm gonna check the attendance because I already saw like 2 people have already arrived. So think of a crossword and then we're going to share your ideas. Let me turn this off for a moment. 5 minutes starting now.
Miss, can you send the link again, please?
Sure, didn't I send it? Let me send it again. Sometimes I send it to Sala de Espera. There you are. Okay, guys, time's up. Let's have a look at those situations that you consider as crossroads, keeping in mind that that is like a kind of dilemma that has an important impact for your future. That is one of the main characteristics that the crossword has. Let's see. It says, please enter the show answers. Quit work. Okay, absolutely. That has definitely like a very important impact. Let me make sure that I'm sharing the whole screen. I think I moved here. Decide about have or having children. Well, decide about having or not having. Okay. Probably you remember from the topic you studied also on Friday that after a preposition we have ing, like thinking of blah, blah, blah. One of the expressions is to talk about future, sorry. Yeah, that is an important one. Oh my God. Some of you are having problems with your internet. Excuse me, I'm giving access to some of you. Yes. When I get a new job offer that pays less, but it's a good option to grow professionally. Absolutely. When my best friend graduates before me and goes to other city to work. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's sad when they go to another city or another country. When your job is sometimes the same and you're feeling atascado. How can we say atascado? You know, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, it's a feeling that you can have at some point, depending on the job that you are, of course. How can we say atascado? Well, actually, it is good that you use the quotations. But what would be a word in English for atascado? In this case, yeah, but you know, in this case, like talking about a job, you know, it is more like an obstacle, like you want to move on, but you feel like actually there is a pressure on you. I would say I was going to send the answer to Mandy. You know, in this context, I would dare to use that one as well. You know, though actually it was Catherine, right? You said stuck. I think that it also works as well, but this held back is like you want to move, you want to see something new, like an advance, and it doesn't happen. Okay. When you fall in love with another girl, oh my God, that happens. Welcome, Manuela. When you're looking at what kind of master's degree to study or which apartment to buy, actually two important crosswords. Pilas acá con el which que faltó la H antes de la I, ¿no? Ojo. But yes, absolutely. When you have to decide more of two options and you don't know which is the best in a career job, attender, etc. Attender?
Teacher, what is the meaning licitación? Tender?
I had bid in mind. This is a word that I know for licitación, Beatriz, but maybe I'm a kind of ignorant in the vocabulary.
Okay.
Because tender I have a different meaning. Let me check it just in case. Ay, ahora sí. Fragile, delicate, a noun. Ah, okay. Ah, actually, tender is a synonym of bid. Ah, okay, Beatriz, thank you. Yeah, it is also an adjective and a noun. That is a good word. Licitación, oferta. Okay, nice. Yes. When you don't know if it's something healthy, but you don't like that, or it's something that you like, but isn't healthy. Okay. Yeah, that has a kind of short-term impact in your future. When you don't know if eating something healthy, but you don't like it, or eating something that you like, but isn't healthy. Para que sea la palabra saludable. What about to finish this part? When the people need to decide between a stressful job for the money or a better job with less salary. Very good. Two things. I would avoid the article de, Remember that in English it is less, let's say, popular compared to Spanish. Y yo no sé quién es que se me escapa, que siempre el D le sale con tilde. Es en Mentimeter particularmente. No sé. Véalo aquí. 2 veces con el D.
Profe, es que es el
Ah,
corrector.
es
Ah,
Hamilton,
lo
el
siento, perdón.
francés.
Sí, es que
Cierto.
se las ponen y no, a veces se las quito y cuando la escribo me la vuelvo a colocar.
Yeah, Hamilton, and you had already told me. Oh, I have a horrible memory, but thank you. Yeah, I was thinking, who was that? 11, when you are going to get married and you have to decide if you want to be unhappy or to be free. That's sad. Okay, but I guess it is a situation. And remember the grammar. When you are, aquí nos faltó el are, going to get married and you have to decide if you want to be unhappy or to be free. In this case, you added be. When your mother doesn't like your spouse, that's a hard one. When we finish the school and all partners decide to choose different ways. That is absolutely true. Guys, thank you very much. Once again, all the answers. As you noticed, all the situations were aiming at different crosswords in life. And none of those situations, well, basically most of them, were very, let's say, delicate, because at the end of the day, the decision is going to have an important impact on your life. We're going to read here this crossword in specific. This is like Sophia's choice. Let's put it like that. Let me put it like this, because I actually want you to see the images that are supporting the crossword that Sophia is facing. Well, actually, the crosswords that Sophia is facing. We're going to read the paragraph, and as usual, I'm going to rely on your help. Let me see. I hope that your microphones are working tonight. Beatriz, are you available or maybe you are driving?
Teacher, I'm available. Yeah, yet in my house.
Okay, great. We are going to start reading from Sophia is feeling confused until rest of her life.
Okay. Sophia is feeling confused. She's got a difficult decision to make and she doesn't know what to do. She has just graduated from university with a degree in law, but after a 5-year course, she's not sure if she wants to work in law for the rest of her life.
That's it, Beatriz. Thank you very much. Just 2 things of pronunciation. Graduated here and
Okay.
law.
Law. Okay.
Well, actually, it is not like a diphthong. Let me turn the camera on for the moment. When we have this combination, A and W sounds like an O. So law, not like lao, that we may think that is a kind of diphthong or something. No, it's just like the O, a little bit closer compared to Spanish. Everything or any combination that we have, well, of course, in some cases there are exceptions, but in this case, there isn't an exception about this one. We have AU, AW, and AL. When you see this combination of these letters, they always sound like O. Okay, so for example, low, when we're talking about a phone call, notice that it is always that vowel sound. Very good. I can turn it off again. Let's continue reading. In this case would be Hamilton, yes.
Teacher, I have a question.
Sure.
We pronounce ed in the verb in past, for example, graduated, or how is?
I'm gonna find quickly something that can answer that question. In some cases, it is pronounced, Hamilton, when the verb without any conjugation finishes with T and D. For example, graduate, decide, invite. When we change them into past simple, then the ED has to be pronounced. Graduated, invited, decided. In those cases, we have to pronounce it. But in the other cases, how the verbs finish, they shouldn't be pronounced like that. I know that I have this information. I wanted to send, yes. I'm gonna share with you this very quickly. I'm gonna upload it to the material folder that we have. Even a kind of mini homework like for vacations. Don't hate me. Yeah. Ah, Steven is in the chat. Let me write that down. So this is what I was telling you. Okay, there are some cases that the ED has to be pronounced. This happens when we're talking about the verbs in past simple, like in this particular case, when we are talking about regular verbs, of course, past participles, and then when we're talking about those adjectives. Actually, we're going to study adjectives this week as well. Not the typical adjectives, beautiful, tan, 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 other adjectives. So this is the situation, you know, when they finish with T or D without any conjugation. That's the moment when we have to add another syllable because we have invite, and then it's invited. Decide, decided. But in the other cases, there are two sounds. They can sound like T or they can sound like D. So it is never help it or wash it or watch it. It's helped, washed, watched. And in some cases in Spanish, for us at the beginning, welcome Santiago, it's complicated because we don't have this combination of letters in our first language. So it takes some time to, let's say, learn to articulate in this way, because once again, in Spanish, we don't have this type of combinations in terms of phonetics. So we don't feel it like a natural way to pronounce. That is why for us it's normal to say help it, because in Spanish we have to pronounce almost every single letter with few exceptions, like the H, right? But in English, there are some special cases. And these are the ones that sound like D. Once again, we wouldn't say call it. It's going to be cold. It has to feel like a D, or cleaned, not clean it. So this is like the intention, okay? Probably for like in the meantime, you want to take like a screenshot for you to keep it in mind. Of course, I will upload it to our folder. I'm going to write that down. So Hamilton, this answers the information.
Yes, teacher, thank you.
Good question, by the way. Pronunciation. I have to write it down, otherwise at 10, I forget. Let's go back to what we were reading. I think I have to close this. Okay. This is the one. Aceptar. It says that it is loading. I think that you haven't seen my screen yet. There you are. So for the moment, Beatriz read the first part, where some information about Sophia was being shared. For the moment, talking about that she studied at university, she studied law, she studied for 5 years. But she's not sure. Maybe she wants to change her life in terms of those professional decisions. Let's continue with the second part, will be from she likes until the final paragraph, 6 months. Diego, please, could you read them?
Yes, teacher. All the paragraph?
No, the second part, because Beatriz already read the beginning. So from she likes until 6 months.
She likes working with children, so she has talked about retraining as a teacher. Sophia's boyfriend has asked her to marry him. She doesn't know if now is the right time. She has saved a bit of money and is also thinking of traveling around the world for 6 months.
Okay, Diego, thank you very much. Well, actually, a lot of, let's say, crosswords in her life. Before we continue, guys, do you have any question related to vocabulary?
No, miss.
Okay, very good. Well, as I was telling you, this is part, of course, of the information that we have in our book. Remember that this is on page 50, but I put it on the slide because I wanted you to have a look at the images and also the phrases that we have in here. I'm telling you that for the next and the first exercise that you're going to make. The idea that you look at the picture, right? Specifically to these sentences and these phrases that we have in here. Notice that, notice what they say. Get married, retrain, travel, work as a lawyer. Here it says lawyer, okay? It's just the shadow that looks like it is not actually showing the whole word, but it is. Which choice is Sophia talking about in each of these sentences? Some sentences may refer to more than one choice. So I'm going to read number one. It says, I'm going to see a bit of the world before I settle down and start a family. First of all, guys, do you remember the meaning of settle down?
I don't remember, Miss.
Sentar cabeza.
Very good, as Jorge says, like the moment when you say, okay, no more bachelor life, no more partying. It is the moment to get married, have a family, maybe a proper job. Settle down, it's about, let's say, becoming more serious about your adult life. So, after reading this statement, we can see that this statement number one is making reference to two of these phrases, right? It's talking about travel and it's talking about get married. So that is going to be the idea of the exercise. So you guys, from number 2 to number 6, you read the sentence and based on the idea, you are going to decide which of these expressions it is related to. Okay? Is the instruction clear, guys?
Yes, Miss.
Very good. It's only with these expressions. You don't have to like find online, whatever. Only with these ones. And notice also what the instruction says, that some sentences may refer to more than one choice, like the case of number 1. This statement number 1 was talking about travel and get married. Of course, we're going to read all the statements before you start actually analyzing them. Hamilton, please, could you read number 2?
Yes, teacher. I'll be qualified next year unless I fail my exams, of course.
That would be it. Thank you very much. Jorge, could you read number 3, please?
I still feel confused. In a month's time, I'll just pack my bags and go.
Good. If. I heard like you said it's going like if. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Karen, please, number 4.
I probably won't see David until I get back from traveling next year.
Okay, that would be it. Let's have a look at number 5, Catherine Rodriguez.
Yes, Miss. As soon as I make up my mind, he'll be the first person to know.
Okay, very good. Kiara, number 6.
When we have children and they go to school, I'll have the same holidays as them.
Okay, very good. So remember, guys, it's almost like a matching exercise, you know? These statements to which of these phrases they are making reference to. And remember that in some cases, we can assign 2 of these phrases to each of the statements. Guys, possible questions of vocabulary that we can all help here to solve? No questions of vocabulary?
No, teacher.
Perfect. Well, guys, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes in case that maybe after a few seconds you say, but I forgot the meaning of this expression. So you can have the time to check it. Let's see. 5 minutes starting now. Okay, guys, let's see. We already know that in the case of statement number 1, let's say that the two phrases that we can assign to them, Vanessa is here, would be travel and get married. Let's have a look at statement number 2. Let me see the chat. Manuel, what about number 2?
Yes, teacher. Number 2. I'll be qualified next year unless I fail my exams, of course. That would be just lawyer. Work as a lawyer.
That would be it. Yeah, in that case, only one. Good. Thank
Yep.
you, Manuel. Let me ask number 3 to Maria Vega. Maria. Yes, there you are.
Verse 3.
Read this sentence, Maria, please.
If I still feel confused in a month's time, I'll use pack my bags and go.
So, from these 4 phrases that we have here, which of them do you think actually matches the situation? Get married, return, travel, or work as a lawyer?
Travel?
Travel, that would be it. It's kind of implicit in the expression that says, pack my bags and go. That would be it. Good. Let's have a look at number 4. Thank you, Maria. Marlon, please.
Yes, teacher.
Number 4.
I probably will see that
Marlon, I can't hear you well. You know, it's like really, really far.
teacher,
No, le escucho. Sorry, Marlon. No. And I turn the volume up like to the maximum one. Maybe later, I guess. Mandy, I'm gonna ask you number 4. Well, he told me he's at work, but I don't know how available he is. Maybe not much. Natalia.
Yes.
What about number 4? Which of those phrases we can assign to that situation?
I probably won't see David until I get back from traveling next year and get married and travel.
Yeah, we can assign both. I agree with you. Very good, Natalia. Manuela, 5.
Okay, teacher, as soon as I make up my mind, he'll be the first person to know.
What do you think?
Get married.
Get married. Very good.
Yes.
Yes. Guys, what is the idea of this expression? Make up my mind. Did you look it up? What's the idea of it?
Cuando abra mi mente o algo así.
Definirse, aclarar.
Decidir, aclarar la mente.
That is the idea. Like to make that final decision. Like you are absolutely sure about something, which would be a kind of, let's say, opposite of the crossword. When you make up your mind, it's because you are already sure of what path you are going to take. Good. And we finish with number 6. Please, Jessica.
Number 6. Holidays. Is a travel?
Okay. Is it about traveling? Well, not all. Read the statement, Jessica. Read it, the whole thing once again.
We have children and they go to school. I have the same holidays as them. Travel.
Okay. Well, only travel would be any other possibility? Well, it is not like an obligation, but maybe would be also related to, also connected to get married, but of course it is not mandatory, as we already know. But yeah, it could be related to travel as well. Very good. Thank you, Jessica. Well, notice, guys, that all the statements are talking about, let's say, cause and consequences for the future, right? There are some things that she's not that really sure about. So to give you like an idea, we are going to have a look. We continue with the presentation, but just like to guide you on the book, we're going to move to the grammatical part, which is the next point on the material that we have in our book. I was telling you, let me go back before we start with the explanation. Now notice that here, all the sentences are talking about situations that have impact in the future, right? And all the situations are created using two sentences. As you see, all of them have two sentences together with a conjunction. From now on, we're going to talk about them as conditional clauses. And as I was telling you, we're going to refresh our memory. It may be an obvious thing that we're talking about conditionals, we're talking about the result of a certain action. There are different possibilities for the creation, let's put it like that, of this statement. We have expressions like if, sorry, when, unless, once, as soon as, before, after, etc. Because actually there are many words. These sentences are the ones in charge of telling us the condition. What could be a condition? If you study hard, and then the main clause is going to be the result. I'm not sharing the screen. What?
Teacher,
Yes.
sorry. You correct the word soon, as soon as, double O.
Yes, you are absolutely right. There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and we were saying that then in the second part that the technical name, let's put it like that, is the main clause, is the one telling us the result. Notice once again, we have two sentences and the order doesn't really affect the meaning. I can say, if you study hard, you will pass your exams. If you study hard is the condition. If this condition is met, this is going to be the result. You will pass the exams. Or I can begin with the result. You will pass the exams if you study hard. There is only one mini difference in terms of spelling if we have a look at the two examples. If we begin with the condition, it's necessary to use a comma, okay? That is the only thing that changes in terms of the punctuation, but the meaning is exactly the same. So the sentences, let me get back, that we had in here, they are called conditional because we have a condition and based on the condition, we will have a result in the future. Now, of course, as we already noticed, when we're talking about the conditional clauses, there are different condition words that we can use. The idea is that the conditional words, clauses, they are created using present tense forms, while we use the future forms for the moment will, but you know that when we talk about future, we can use going to, and also we can use any modal that we want. In that case, of course, the result, it is implicit that is going to be happening in the future, right? For example, we won't be able to go if it rains. In the chat, someone says wood, and yes, wood is also, let's say, another one of the family. Will, for some reason, on books, will is the most common one, and we're talking about the condition for the future, the result. Yeah. And we're talking about the result for the future, and it's okay, you know, but I would be lying completely to you guys if I told you that you use only will. Any modal and any expression that makes reference to future can be used in the result clause. So it says we won't be able to go if it rains. Notice here the condition. For the moment, we're going to say that the condition is in present. It's not always in present. It's because of the type of conditional that we are studying, the one that has impact in the future. But for the moment, let's say that it is present. And then, let me highlight it. This is the result. We won't be able to go out if it rains. Notice that in this case, the result is in a negative form. Of course, the result can be a negative conclusion, you know. It doesn't have to be affirmative all the time. I will come tomorrow unless I have to look after the children. Once again, here we begin with the result. And we move then to the condition. Unless I have to look after the children. Guys, what is the meaning of unless? We're going to see that in a moment, but just like to refresh your memory.
A menos que.
A menos que.
A menos que. So that means that we have, let's say, a situation that in case that this condition occurs, then of course there will be an impact in the future. And then when I find it, I'll bring it to you. We have, in this case, would be like the typical conditional beginning with the condition, the comma. Remember that when we begin the statement in this way, it's necessary to place the comma, and then the result in the future, okay? So that's the idea of this, let's say, statements. Notice that at the end of the day, all that we are doing is to combine two sentences, that's all. And thanks, let's put it to that combination, we can talk about the conditionals. If the condition is met, there will be an impact in the future. For the moment, guys, any question related to vocabulary or any question in general, I mean?
No, miss.
Okay, let's see the chat. Ay, no puede ser. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was like talking about the topic and I didn't notice that someone was waiting. That's embarrassing. Thank you, Jorge. How long was she waiting? Did she say something? Thank you, Jorge. I have to do this, but in a moment. Okay. Going back to the examples, probably the most common, let's say, condition words are if and when. They are pretty similar, but actually there is a long list. At the end of the day, we can use the ones that we want. Here I found probably some of the most common, you know, some of them share the general idea or the point in time they make reference to. But at the end of the day, as I told you, there are different possibilities. For example, the case of when, once, as soon as. These, we can consider them a little bit similar because they are talking about a specific point in time when something happened or will happen. As I told you, it is not only in present. We can use this in different tenses. For the moment, we are focusing on the ones that have impact in the future. And the idea of when, once, and as soon as means that there is going to be a kind of immediate action to take place. We have before, we have after, and we have until. Basically, the idea of before and after is to talk about the chronological order of events. She'll pick you up before she comes here. So notice the order of the events. This would be the first event to pick him up. And the second event would be to come to a place. Of course, because we're using the word before. If we use after she comes here, she'll pick you up. So she will come to a place and then she would pick someone up. So notice that in terms of grammar, we can use whatever we want, but of course, based on the perception in the chronological order of events would be which action comes after which one. That is basically the idea. Until in this case means up to a time in the past or future. We already know that until, what is the meaning of until?
Hasta.
Hasta.
Very good. So I need, or it is necessary to make sure that the main clause happens first. I'm going to wait until January sales start to buy a new jacket. So notice, notice also here in this example, we're using going to. This is the result. So I need this condition to happen. When this condition happens, this is the result that is going to occur. And finally, if, as I was telling you, if is very common, it's as common, I dare to say, as when. In some cases, it looks like it is similar, but actually it is not that similar because the idea of if, it is more related to possible or impossible situations. If we say, if I win the lottery, that if it's more like, that is like a long shot in the future. Even like the probabilities are really, really low, but if that happens, compare a little bit to when is more realistic. You say, when I get home, blah, 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 blah. So when actually it is more related to possible and real things to happen. If it is more hypothetical, that is the intention of this word in particular, okay? So guys, we were just like, let's say, shredding a little bit how to make these sentences. Remember the technical name, let me go back. We're talking about conditional clauses. At the end is to combine two sentences. For the moment, we're going to say that one sentence is in present. That is the condition. And then we have the result, which is going to be in future. Could be using will, could be using going to, could be using any modal, also using would, as Jorge said in the chat. The idea is that that second statement or the result shows that there is an impact in the future, okay? Well, let's practice. Or first, questions, guys?
No, miss.
Okay. Well, guys, we're going to do two different practice. The first one is going to be individual. We have already used this type of exercise previously. Well, I'm gonna show you first what you are supposed to do. Let me arrange the link. There it is. I haven't sent it yet, I know. The idea is going to be to organize the statements. You already know that what we have to do is to drag and drop the words. So we take in when. Porque la puse arriba, sorry. No, it's not in this line, it's on the second one, okay? And then you start moving it. Guys, be careful with the comma, you know? Remember that the comma is telling us then how the sentence is organized. If we have the comma in the middle, that means that we are starting with the condition. If we don't have a comma, it's because we're starting with the result. I'm gonna do the first one as an example. When John sees his boss, then the comma is already there. He'll discuss his problem with him. Very good. And then you continue with the others. There you have the link. Let me know, guys, if the link is working properly. Let's see the chat. Yes, Vanessa, actually, this
Not
would
working,
be
teacher.
not working. Oh, yes, today's 27th. My mistake. I'm gonna be honest. When I was planning, I put it to close yesterday. Could you refresh the page, please?
No, miss.
Well, I guess I have to create a new link, maybe. Change the deadline, set. Ah, yeah, it says that it expired. Give me a second while I adjust it. And I send you the link again. Twenty-seven. I have to check my links. To answer Vanessa's question, yeah, this would be considered the first conditional. A situation in present that has an impact in our future. This is a new link, please let me know.
Yes, teacher, it's working.
Yes, teacher.
Thank you very much. Well, guys, there are a lot of words and I want you to have a look at all the different combinations. You're gonna have 10 minutes. Looks like a lot of time, but I just wanna make sure that you guys finish the activity. I'm going maybe to display this slide in particular, and I'm not going to interrupt you for the next 10 minutes. And of course, we'll check and you let me know if you have any question. 10 minutes is starting now. Well, guys, I think that you're about to finish for the moment. It shows me that 6 of you, sorry, have already finished. I'm gonna give you like 2 extra minutes. I'm pretty sure that you're just about that. And then we'll check the statements. I'll see. Okay, let's have a look at the podium. The ones that haven't finished, don't worry. So we have Natalia, Catherine, and Kiara. Almost 1 point. I'm sure that the problem, let's call it problem, was at the time. I know that there were a lot of sentences, not a lot of sentences, a lot of words like that needed to be organized. And that's what took actually most of the time. Let me once again have a look at it. Okay. Let's keep it with you 3 guys. Let's have a look at the answer key, just in case you have probably some questions. I'm showing this about any of the statements in particular. These were the statements and how they were supposed to be organized. I would like to know, guys, if you have any question in particular, any statement that you would like to check in a specific. Questions, questions, questions? Okay. Aspects probably to keep in mind as well. As I was telling you, or probably one of the most repeated situations in this type of sentences is that all of them are like affirmative, 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 right? Remember that in some cases we can use the negative form, like the case of number 8. Notice we have the result, and in this case, the condition was on the second part. We can use, like without any problem, a negative way to make the statement. And for the moment, because we are talking about present, we will be talking about don't, doesn't, and of course also the verb to be if required, right? We also noticed from the previous examples that we can use the negative form of will, that is want. And talking about the first conditional, as Vanessa already pointed out, we can use it in different combinations. I mean, we have affirmative, we have negative, and notice that the final one was a question, right? So it doesn't matter. We can make any combination. respecting, like the core components, condition in present, result in future. That's all that we need to know. Okay? Questions? Okay, let's go back to see if there are more answers. Probably a change in the podium. Manuel, Natalia, and Catherine. Yes. We have a new podium in here. Kiara, Jorge, Diego, Maria, Beatriz, Jessica, and Vanessa. Don't worry. Maybe in a few seconds more people would finish. But for the moment, Manuel has taken first place. Okay. Well, guys, there is an exercise that I want to share with you. One of the things that we discussed the other day was trying to include a little bit the type of exercises that we have on the exam. And actually I found an exercise that is a little bit similar to that point that probably was the weakest one from the exam. In this case, focusing on future. I'm going to read the instruction for you. It says, for each question, it says question, but you know that in this case, we don't really have questions in terms of the grammatical aspect. Complete the second sentence so that it means the same as the first. As usual, use no more than 3 words. Remember that in some cases, even in all the sentences could be 1 word, or probably 1 word in all the sentences and in 1, 2 words, and that would be it. In this case, what is, let's say, the aspect that we are going to review? Talking about future. On the previous class that was with Professor Laura Juliana, well, with me as well, of course, we began talking about future and like to refresh our memory. And there were some characteristics in order to define in which cases we use will and in which cases we use going to. So that is like the information that I want you to keep in mind. That's what you need to use in order to complete the sentences. Could be will or could be going to. So in case that you need to refresh your memory, go to the book to the previous pages. That would be 48 and 49. If you need to check once again that grammatical part. Okay? Guys, do you have any questions about the instruction?
No, miss.
Okay, Beatrice, thank you very much. Yeah, look at the original sentence. Look at those words that actually are leading us to recognize the type of future. And we are going to, we'll see. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, probably if you want to check them a little bit more. And then of course, we're going to check them as a group. Let's start. Let's practice future once again. 5 minutes starting now. I was going to answer it in the chat, but I noticed that you sent it to the whole group. So probably the main difference that is not real. Difference between due to and about to. Let me share the whole screen. You're making reference to the expressions from that grammatical component. Both of them are talking about situations that are their proximity, sorry, to happen is really close. Like it is not a long-term action to be happening in the future. Actually, we're talking about more like short-term impact. Let's put it like that, okay? But
Okay.
they are synonyms. You can use both of them, actually. Well, let's see, guys. As I was telling you, in this case, the idea was to use will or going to. We were going to focus only on those two. Maybe if you had a different possibility, we could check it. Why not? I would like to ask, in this case, I have to start again. Beatriz, what about the statement number 1? The original sentence was, I planned to travel to China this year.
I am planning to travel to China this year.
So, it's a plan. Will or going to, Beatriz?
The correct going is possible planning, teacher. I'm going to travel.
Sorry, Beatriz. Read the sentence that you have.
Okay. I write, I'm planning to travel to China this year. The correct, I know I'm going to travel to China this year. It's possible, I write, I'm planning.
Actually, I'm planning to. Yeah, because at the end of the day, plan, well, let's take advantage of the grammatical charts. And also the present continuous is talking about activities that are already arranged. Do you remember, guys, the meaning of arranged?
Sí, es como arreglados.
Arrange always give us the idea that it's something that is really organized. You know, it is not like it happened out of the blue. So in that sense, you know, we can consider that present continuous and going to have that similar point of view, that at the end of the day, it's a plan. So actually, Beatriz, both of your sentences are really good. Let me see the chat. Going to or gonna? In terms of pronunciation, whatever you prefer, Jorge. The typical difference that we would have in English, right? Going to looks a little bit more formal than gonna. In the written part, going to, like the two words separated. But when you read it, you say gonna and it's fine. Yes, Manuel?
Teacher, in this case, maybe could be continuous if it's like a little more arranged, maybe if they have a date instead. O sea, es que creo que aquí es mejor utilizar I'm going to o sea, aplica un poco más I'm going to porque el presente continuo sería si, por ejemplo, ya tienen como todo programado, como fechas, digamos, si dan una fecha. En este caso es como un poquito más general. No sé si estoy en lo correcto o qué
Well,
opinas.
Manuel, it is not incorrect, your idea. The thing is that you are being like very strict with the grammatical structure. It is not an obligation to have a date. It would be better to have a date, you know? But at the end of the day, both of them are talking about an arrangement. But if you want to be like really detailed, going to is fine. But I'm planning to travel, it also works. A date would be excellent, but both work actually, Manu.
Oh,
But
no,
good.
teacher. I was thinking maybe about I'm traveling was not correct. Maybe I'm planning. I think, I mean, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I agree with the planning one. No, I'm traveling because, no, I'm traveling would be like looks like the situation is in progress in the moment, right? No. I'm talking about Beatrice's first choice. I'm planning to travel. That one. But good point. Yeah, Manuel. Because maybe we want to be like very detailed and use it as perfectly as possible. When we include a date, it gives us more details, of course, in order to what the plan is about, when it is going to take place. But there are verbs that actually are really helpful. Let's have a look at number 2, Diego. The original was, I might stay in tonight as there's nothing, my eyes, as there's a good film on TV. So Diego, what happens when I am not that sure? Diego.
Excuse me, teacher.
There you are.
What number, teacher?
Number 2.
Okay, number 2. I may stay tonight. I think I will stay in tonight as there is good film on TV.
Thank you, Diego. Very good. Probably you also remember from our chart from the previous session that there are some phrases that we can use with will, right? Think, know, hope. And the idea of those phrases precisely is to give that intention that I am not that sure. Also, remember that these modals talk about like a really low level of probability. That is a good possibility. Let's see if we have more. Beatriz, yes.
Teacher, it's possible in these sentences I say, I think I am watching in tonight as there's a good film on TV.
But you know what the problem is, Beatriz, this word, in, because you say, I am watching in, and that collocation doesn't work.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the in is leading us to use stay once again. Any other possibility, guys, that you want to share? Maybe it works. And if it doesn't work, well, we then realize that that one doesn't work and it's fine.
Sorry, teacher, what was the correct one, the second one?
Will stay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, in some cases we have some restrictions, like in this case, the word in is talking about a very specific collocation. Well, of course, in some cases we can take words from the original one, which in this case was stay. Number 3, Hamilton, please.
Yes, let me wash up as you cook dinner, and I will wash. I will wash.
Wash up.
Wash up.
Let's include
as
the up.
you cook dinner.
Very good. Hamilton, why did you, it is correct, of course, but why did you decide it on will as well in number 3?
Teacher, can you repeat, please?
Sure. Why did you decide will? It is correct. Absolutely. I mean, but why did you decide it on will instead of going to?
Teacher, because we don't have to plan in a lot of things.
Will doesn't have to plan a lot of things. Okay. That is a good lead. Very good. In some cases, of course, we're talking about different uses of will as well. Remember that will also talks about immediate decision, like in the moment. Let's imagine that someone is knocking the door. You say, I will open it. Or maybe your phone is ringing. You said, I will pick up. Those actions that happen in the moment usually are, let's say, created using will. Jorge says, teacher, could you use about to? That would be, I'm about to wash up as you cook dinner. You know, actually that works because once again, we're talking about like that immediate moment to happen using verb to be, right? Remember that these expressions about to, plan to, think of, they go with the verb to be. But yes, you know, Jorge, once again, an immediate action to happen. Good. Any other possibility, guys, that you would like to share for number 3? We say will, about to, those ones that are close to the moment to happen. 7:44. Number 4, Jorge.
I decide to paint the living room a relaxing pale green color.
Decide or decided, Jorge?
Decided.
Very good. So it's a decision.
I'm going to paint the living room as relaxing pale green color.
Very good. It's a fixed thing. You already made the decision. Let's use going to. Any other possibility, guys, that you would like to share?
Miss, se puede, I'm thinking paint the living room.
Remember the whole expression. I'm thinking of.
Painting.
Remember, guys, that it is a restriction, you know, that because of is a preposition, we have the obligation to put the verbs with ing. So if we could change it, if we could include this, it would be possible. But the original is already like this. So that expression doesn't match the grammatical structure. So technically we couldn't, Catherine. It was Catherine, right?
Yes.
Catherine. Yeah, the problem is the preposition of. Let's keep it with going to. Well, guys, I don't want to take up more of your time. Let me share with you the answer key for you to compare. Look at number 5. Basically, number 5 is similar to number 1. We're talking about plan. And well, we already discussed like plans could be with a progressive form, and also planning was the other one. Even planning could be used as the example that Beatriz suggested in number 1. And number 6 was a little bit similar to number 2 because we are not sure. In this case, the best possibility is going to be will. It begins with I think. It immediately reduces the level of probability. Yes, Beatriz.
Sorry, teacher, for this. Very confused with going to and present continuum. Present continuum is a plan?
You know, at least actually don't confuse yourself because they are synonyms at the end of the day. Both are about plans. Both are actually about arrangements. As Manuel was pointing out, actually present continuous is better if we include a date for the event to happen. But in reality, both of them mean the same. It's an action that has been arranged with certain anticipation. It is not like immediate decision, which is usually the intention of will. But actually, they are pretty much the same. In essence, you are talking about plans.
Okay, teacher. For example, when the sentence is not specified the time, is a plan, I can use going to.
When the sentence doesn't specify, yes.
Okay, thank
you. Welcome. Yeah, guys, I know that you want to be really precise and very detailed, and you know, that is fine. But in reality, they are more similar than we may think. Okay, guys, very good. As I didn't want to take more of your time. Of course, I will upload this information to the virtual campus, to our folder, and then also the image with the ED pronunciation, but I think that you already have it. Guys, great. See you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye,
teacher.
Bye.
Bye.
Again, everybody.